Welcome to Nerd on Nerd with me, Jack Kempster.
And me, Liam Underwood. In this episode, we are going to be discussing the first 6 episodes of Cowboy Bebop. But before we get to that, it's time for my favourite segment, catching up with Jack and Liam. So Jack, you've been busy, little boy.
Well, yeah, I went on holiday.
Yeah? So tell us all about it.
I went to Bulgaria.
Where's that?
Eastern Europe.
Okay.
It's quite close to sort of Russia and that area.
Oh, okay. What made you want to go there?
It's very sunny and quite nice.
Okay, yeah.
It was also, we did a last minute booking of an all-inclusive. And it turns out when you leave it last minute, you do get it for cheaper, but you don't have a lot of options.
Well, no, I mean, there's obviously going to be a trade-off doing it last minute. So what sort of options did you not get?
Well, at one point I'd suggested Iceland.
Yeah?
Because I'd love to go up there, but they'd all sold out.
That's a shame, because I think...
it's quite popular, Iceland.
Yeah, especially after Game of Thrones.
Right, I'm pretty positive that isn't the reason.
Everyone I know who's gone to Iceland has gone to see the Game of Thrones locations.
Right. Well, I'm just going to... Shot in the dark, Liam.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that's not the reason that it's, like, fully sold out. I don't think it was hotels just full of people walking around dressed as Cersei and...
The other thing, if you're going to go to Iceland, surely you do it when the Northern Lights are happening.
Yeah?
I don't see why you'd go and not be able to do that as well at the same time.
Yeah?
It's probably a good thing, really, that you're going to get to Iceland.
No, I'd like to go to Iceland anyway. I feel like the fact that your two reasons for going on holiday to Iceland are like Game of Thrones and the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole country there, Liam.
Yeah, I know. We might even have listeners there. Hello.
Hi. I'm sorry I couldn't come out and see you guys.
Yeah, but instead you went to Bulgaria. Don't think we've got any listeners there.
We might do.
Yeah?
They all spoke English.
They spoke English.
English, it turns out, is a fairly common language.
It's not the most common language in the world, though, is it?
Not based on population,
No.
because there's a lot of Chinese people.
But based on popularity.
No, I don't think we're particularly popular. I think our language just was one of the ones that got spread quite a bit, so people have just sort of resigned themselves to speaking it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So, this holiday of yours, tell me, what were the highlights, what were the lowlights?
I went on a jet ski. Every time I go on something fast, I forget beforehand, I'll forget how much I like to go fast.
Yeah.
And then someone gives me, like, a jet ski, and they say, you turn this to go fast, there's no brake.
Yeah.
I go, okay, cool. And I slowly make my way out to sea, because the guy said, oh, you got to be slow.
Yeah.
Slow going out, slow coming in.
Why is that?
That's fine. Just because there's like a little... You get like a narrow sort of lane that you have to go out to get to the bit where you can fuck around.
Okay.
And like people could potentially get into that bit.
Yeah.
Like, they're
yeah.
not meant to, but someone very easily could have,
Got in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If it's slow...
But then as soon as I got out to the fast bit, Liam...
Oh, yeah?
I opened that throttle up.
And?
Fuck, I like going fast.
How fast does it go?
At one point I looked and was doing... I think I was doing 50 kilometres an hour, which wasn't a lot. But then I stopped watching the speedometer because I was getting faster and didn't care about how fast I was going. I was just enjoying...
Would it not have hurt if you'd have fallen off?
Probably, maybe. Maybe it would have stung a little bit. It's quite hard to fall off.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things where you could feel...
What if you bumped into like a dolphin or something?
Surprisingly, there were jellyfish out there.
Yeah, but they're mostly water anyway. I'm talking about like if you actually bumped into something a bit more tangible.
Right, well, basically, Bulgaria sits on this thing called the Black Sea.
Okay.
Which apparently, I don't know if this is true, I have not verified my friend's facts.
Yeah.
But I believe him after being on that sea and seeing it. Apparently it's 10 times saltier than a standard, seawater, because it's like an inland sea, so it's all cut off.
Yeah.
So the only life that lives there is jellyfish and some very hardy fish. I don't think dolphins are thriving.
Okay. Any sharks?
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
Just lots of jellyfish.
Yeah. Alright, fair enough. Did you get stung by any?
Nope, I didn't fall in.
That's good.
They were also quite far out.
Yeah. You know what to do if you do get stung, don't you?
I'm pretty positive they said that was a myth. I don't know who they is. I'm pretty positive that's a myth.
Yeah, no, you get some, like, jellyfish cream.
I don't think that's a thing.
It should be.
I don't know how often people are being stung by jellyfish.
Enough that it comes up regularly in sitcoms.
I don't think sitcoms are a good gauge for what's common.
It's hard to tell, really. So any holiday romance?
No.
Did you get your body out?
Yeah.
That explains it.
Low blow.
That's like, you're not ashamed, so it's fine.
Yep, true.
So what were the lowlights?
The low lights. Oh, I've got a good low light.
Okay.
We so coming back on Monday.
Yep.
We got to the airport. I think we left the hotel at like 11:30. Got to the airport like 12:30. Looking at the boards, everything seemed fine.
Yeah.
Went through security, did all that bullshit. Then we got into the actual like. So once you're through security and you're actually in like with all the shops and shit.
Yeah.
Sitting there, looking at the goddamn boards, and our flight got delayed by 2 hours, and we were like, oh, that sucks, but it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's not horrible.
No.
We ended up at that airport for, I believe, 6 hours.
Yeah.
Because our flight just kept getting more and more delayed.
Why was it being delayed?
I think that eventually we got in contact with someone, and they said there was some sort of engineering thing that had gone wrong on the plane.
Okay.
That was meant to be coming for us. They were going to divert another one to come and pick us up.
Yeah.
But that didn't ever happen. So eventually we got the plane that they had fixed, and the pilot was like, I'm very sorry about all that. Blah, blah, blah. But I don't know, something had gone wrong with it.
Okay, well, to be fair, you kind of want them to be delaying it if that's the reason.
Yeah, until they had said, oh, we're diverting this other flight to pick you up, because then I was like, well, fuck you for then not doing that.
Yeah, true.
Airports just aren't fun.
If it all goes well, they're fine.
Even then, like, security always annoys me at airports. Yeah. Always.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what I try and pack in my hand luggage, like, basically the times I've gone on holiday with this group, I started, the first year I went with them, I didn't take luggage for a week's holiday.
Right, that's not good.
I had enough stuff in my hand luggage to last me a week. Literally, I had enough clean clothes for a week in my hand luggage.
Yeah.
Which was fine until I had to empty that goddamn bag at security.
Yeah.
Was like, cool, never making this mistake again. It was the first time I'd like gone on a plane and travelled to another country.
Okay.
So I was like, cool. I figured that out.
Yeah.
Simple. Next year, went with all my chargers were in my backpack with my electronics, which, as you can imagine, is a fair amount.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a big deal, but I'm the guy that then they have to get 2 fucking trays for you to fill all the shit in.
I'm that person as well, to be fair.
That's so annoying, because there's like, it's not designed for you to have 2.
Yeah.
They're cumbersome.
They are.
There's space for 1, and you're like trying to shove 2 on, and then someone else tries to put theirs in between your 2, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
Mine need to go through together. Let's not confuse this. So this year, I took barely anything. I had an iPad, my 3DS, I think, what else did I have in there? That might have been it. Oh, and my Kindle. 3 things.
Yeah.
That's all I had in my hand luggage. Still got 2 fucking trays. The guy was like, you can't have your iPad in that same tray. And I was like, really?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
What do they think? What am I... It goes through a machine that scans it.
Genuinely.
What are they trying to stop me doing?
When I went to America with work, I think I ended up with 3 trays, because not only did I have an iPad, not only did I have my PlayStation Vita, not only did I have to take my work laptop in my hand luggage as well, then I had like actual things for me to play with, like books and magazines and stuff.
Yeah.
So it ended up, I think, 3 trays. Because also the other thing was my wallet couldn't go with those things.
Yes. Oh, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. I get what you're saying. Like the airport part of a holiday is always the most annoying.
Yeah.
But what 3DS games did you take?
Oh, I was just playing. I think all of us in the end we were all taking a 3DS with Pokemon.
Okay.
I was playing Omega Ruby. I think a bunch of the others were playing that Gen 1. And then one of my friends was playing X.
Okay. How many of you ended up going?
5?
And how far did you get in Pokemon?
Pretty far, further than I got last time.
Well done.
So eventually you won't be able to complain at me because I'll have the Legendary and then you can get the fucking Rayquaza.
I don't know if I've even got that cartridge anymore. I might do somewhere.
It's going to be a shame because I'm going to start complaining at you at that point.
I might still have it, to be fair. But until then, I will carry on my complaining.
What have you been up to, Liam?
Well, you know, having kind of... It felt like a week off of recording, even though it wasn't.
Yeah.
I obviously had to busy myself. So I don't know if you're aware of this, but with Magic the Gathering, which is a game that I know you're familiar with, a card game for those that aren't familiar, every so often they release like a new bunch of cards.
Yep.
And my local comic book shop did a draft for when this new set was being released. Now, I haven't played the game since me and you had a day where we pretty much did nothing but play it.
Yeah.
Which was, I think, 3 or 4 years ago now.
You were in your old flat.
Yeah, so at least 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was, you know, a little bit rusty, but I thought I'd go along, see what it's all about. I had nothing better to do. It's a Sunday evening, so why not?
That's also the kind of thing that old men do, isn't it? Like, go and try and find out what all the kids are into.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I tried that Pokemon Go app, but it asked me for my date of birth, and I just thought, you know what, I'm ashamed just putting that in.
It didn't scroll back far enough.
It did, but I just thought, you know what, the fact that it's asking me this makes me think I'm too old for it. So that didn't last. So yeah, I don't know if you know how a draft works with Magic the Gathering.
I know one thing, and I don't know if it's I don't know if that's what a draft is. But is it the one where you get a booster pack gets opened, and then like each person takes one card?
Right, that's one way of doing it.
Right. Okay.
That's not the way we did it.
Okay, what was the way you did it?
We all got like a booster pack, so like a fat pack, which I think has like 9 packs of card inside.
Okay.
So you get half an hour to open all your cards, and then from those you have to build a deck of 40 cards. And that obviously will include your land as well. Now, you know, people familiar with the game will know that your standard deck would be 60 cards.
Yeah.
So obviously, this being my first go, I asked a few people beforehand for advice and whatnot, and they said you want to kind of try and focus predominantly on creatures. That's what's going to save you, essentially. So, looking at the cards I had, I ended up going for a green-white deck, which probably won't make sense to anyone that isn't familiar with the game, but I know you are, so that should make sense to you. Well, green's good if you can get past the first couple of rounds, because green is all about growing, essentially, and having like big monsters to throw out there.
And white would be quite good for surviving those first rounds, right?
Yeah.
It's quite good at putting out creatures quite early.
Yeah, that's the theory that I was going with.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I guess it didn't work, judging by your tone of voice.
Well, I mean, obviously, there was 12 people in total, okay? And I hadn't played a game in years. So what do you think would be a sort of satisfying place to come out of 12?
If you hadn't played in years...
Yeah. Didn't really know the rules, in all honesty, because obviously each set has a new set of rules.
I'm assuming you didn't come that high, and I would say anything above, I think 10th, seriously, because I assume that people that go there are good.
Yeah.
So I'd hope that there'd be a couple of other people that weren't that good.
Okay. So
I'm expecting you to finish in the bottom 3.
Okay. So my first game, I've built my deck.
Yeah. I hope it just starts with you getting slaughtered in like one turn.
My first game, I'm against someone, and they're like, right, I've got a risky deck here. I've gone for 3 colours. Now, obviously, this is going to make no sense to people that aren't familiar, but I'm going to try and keep you up to date. With Magic the Gathering, generally, you want to go for a 2-colour deck.
Yeah. So
3 is risky, because the way it works is you need to get land to play your cards, and land is split into 5 different colours. So, obviously, a 3-colour deck is risky. He slaughtered me. Absolutely annihilated me.
I'd assume, though, if he'd gone 3 colours, I'd assume he knew what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'd expect that one to be it. The moment he said, I've got a risky deck, I'd have gone, right, Liam's lost that round.
Yeah, Liam really lost it super fast.
This guy knew enough that he was like, I'm taking a risk. You should have been like, I tap out.
Yeah, super fast. I'm just gone. I'm like, right, I don't even know like how my deck is supposed to work at this point, because I haven't had enough turns to really figure out what's going on. So, and it's like best out of 3. So, First game, slaughtered. Second game against this same guy, annihilated. I was like, cool, this is going to be a real fun night, isn't it? Next opponent, it's this girl from Southampton. She's come with a group. There's like, I think 5 or 6 people from Southampton had all come to this event.
Oh, okay.
Now, she was on my level. I liked this girl, because she also didn't really know the rules.
Cool.
So, I was like, right, this is good, because like when someone's really into it, you can't just joke around and have a bit of fun, because they're very intense. Whereas with this girl, neither of us really knew what we were doing. So quite often we'd have to get someone over to check some rules. And it was fine. We weren't taking it very seriously. I slaughtered her by mistake. You know, I was having fun. Just annihilated.
How did you accidentally slaughter her?
Just by winning really quickly. Didn't even realise that was happening. Do you know? Just, like, it wasn't like... You know, sometimes you're like, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing, and this is why I'm winning. Wasn't that.
Okay.
It was just an accidental win. So I was like, okay, well, we'll chalk that up to maybe I just drew really good cards and you didn't. Next game, I also won real quickly. And she was playing, I think it was a black and something else deck. I want to say black-white, but I might be wrong. So I was like, okay, well, maybe, you know, it's just bad luck of the draw. But she was very gracious in her defeat. It was fine. So at this point, I've lost 2, I've won 2. Next game, it's against a dude who was helping me build my deck. So he already had an unfair advantage, because he knew what was coming. He was also in training to kind of be like the sort of person that goes to these events and makes sure everyone's following the rules.
Right, okay.
Like, I don't know what you'd call that person.
Yeah, they've got a name.
Nerd.
I don't know what it is. Very good.
He slaughtered me real quickly.
Yep, unsurprising.
Again, like, just... You know, so in Magic the Gathering, for those that don't know, you start off with 20 life, and once it gets reduced down to 0, you lose. I think I maybe, at my best, got him down to 17 before he killed me.
And was that I imagine that was like, you had something on the board, and he was like, he had enough on the board to just kill you, and you were like, I attack, and he was like, I'm just not going to bother blocking
Yeah,
this.
it was just like, I'll take it. I was like, cool, thank you.
Let him feel something.
Yeah. And then we get to the last game of the night, okay? It was against this woman. And
Wait, last game of the night?
yeah.
But there were 12 people there.
Yeah, but obviously there wasn't time to do, like, you versus everyone. So the way they did it was basically the people who won would play the people who won, and the people who lost played the people who lost.
Oh, okay.
And then they tried to even it out, so like if you won 2, lost 2, you'd play someone else as close to that as they could find.
Yep, got you.
So there was a woman there. She wasn't like everyone I'd played when I was like, oh, I'm very new, so you'll probably have an easy time with this. They were very friendly, very gracious, and kind of really helped with explaining the rules. This woman, I got the impression she was familiar with the rules. She played quite frequently. The way I could tell that is the people that played a lot would put their cards in little card protecting things.
Yep.
The people like me didn't really feel the need to do that. So we were sat at a different table for this game, and it was a lot wider than the last table, so I was really struggling to see what she was playing. And a lot of people, they're at that level now where they say the card they're playing, and the person they're playing just knows what that card is. I was not.
I think
you're
allowed to ask to see their cards.
Yeah, I had to. She wasn't like forthcoming, but everyone else was like, do you know what that does? No, cool, have a read. She was just like, I'm playing this, and just put it down. I was like, cool, doesn't help. What does that do? So she wasn't the friendliest, let's say. And I as soon as I saw the fucking card protectors come out, I was like, well, this is... I actually said to her, you're going to have an easy win here, aren't you? So we played the first game, and I win. And I have to admit, quite like... It wasn't a slaughter, but it was an easy win. Like, there was no time when I felt particularly troubled or worried. So I was like, okay, that has to just be down to I got very lucky with what I drew, and she got unlucky. The next game, Jack, holy moly. It was the most intense game of Magic the Gathering I have ever played.
Which isn't that impressive, seeing as the times you've played have been with me and at a draft.
Yeah, but seriously,
and maybe in the past.
It was fucking crazy. At one point in the game, I shit you not, she had 37 health. Remember, listeners, you start at 20. And this is not the sort of game where it's particularly easy to get more health.
Well, if you've got like a healing themed deck.
Yeah. I don't know what her theme of the deck was because I couldn't see half her fucking cards. But at one point she had 37 health. I had 2. It was at this point that I nearly did the gracious thing and just tapped out and said you win. But I thought, you know what? Let's see this through. That's not
a gracious thing to do unless like that.
Honestly,
I only have experience with Hearthstone, and
yeah,
you tend to concede. You concede if you know they're going to win the next turn.
Yeah,
and there's nothing you can do.
So
that's when
the first game she conceded because I was just steamrolling. This game, I was like, right, I could concede because 2 against 37. I literally can't see how I come back from this. But I was like, I'm going to play one more hand and just see what happens. Oh boy, there's a card called Tenacity. Okay. What it does is it gives all of your attacking creatures +2 and lifelink. For those that don't know, lifelink means any damage you do, you gain back as health. In our first game, it's an instant, by the way. So for those that aren't familiar, and Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, but an instant card means you can play whenever, right?
Yeah.
Like you can play at any point during your turn, or even any point during their turn, yeah?
Yeah.
So our first game, I played this card, and she said you played that wrong. So what I did is I declared my attack, and I got a little bit too excited, and I played the card, which kind of revealed a bit too much of my hand. It allowed her to then better prepare how she was going to sort this out. So she said, you've played that wrong. I was like, oh, sorry, I don't really know what I'm doing. She was like, no, what you've got to do is wait for me to declare blockers and then play it. I was like, okay, fair enough. Good to know. So the next game, that's what I did. She was not happy. She was like, wait, I don't think that's how that works, because now you're hitting me for like 15 damage all of a sudden. I need to do a rules check. So there's this dude who won the night, and literally his entire life is Magic the Gathering. Like, he knows every single card that's ever been made. He knows the fact that this new set, they're printing on different card, it smells different, and they're using different plastic for the wrappers of the booster packs.
That's just fucking upsetting.
Yep. He was the sort of person where I was like, do you know what? I'm completely happy with the fact that you've won the night, because you're not going to win anything else in life. So she checked with him these rules, and he was like, okay, so how did you play it? And I was like, well, I declared my attack, waited for her to declare blockers, she didn't, so I played it. He's like, yep, that's fine, that's how you're meant to do it. And in my head I was like, yeah, I played it how she fucking told me to play it in the last game when she said I played it wrong. So, if you think, I did 15 damage and got that back in life. So suddenly, we're back on even Stevens ground, pretty much. It was honestly the longest game I played, but I won. And it was such a sweet victory, because she was just so kind of unlikable, if that makes sense.
You're saying this, Liam, and I, having known you for all these years, I can't help but, like, look at this story and be like, now, was she actually unlikable, or was it just Liam being Liam?
It wasn't Liam being Liam.
I can't help but picture this woman being like, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I don't think that's how you play that one. I think you're meant to, like, do this, and you're going, oh, okay. And then, like, in your head, when that next thing happens, you're like, I'm going to do it fucking properly. And she's like, oh, wait, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I need to do a rules check. Because that makes sense. I've done that before in things, being like,
but here's the thing.
That's the way site works, and then being like, well, that seems overpowered. Let's just double check that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, fuck you. And they're like, what?
I mean, here's the thing. The clue is in the kind of card title where it's an instant. Play it instantly.
My assumption would be that first time you played it, that wasn't playing it wrong either.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
I think what she was saying was, like, I think she was legitimately trying to help you.
Honestly, if you could have heard her tone, I think you changed that opinion.
No, I know, but like, here's the only way. I mean, unless she was just an obnoxious, B word.
Yeah, we're allowed to swear on this show.
Yeah, I know. I thought we might try and make this one a PG-13.
Oh, okay, we can try it. Have I sworn yet?
I don't know, for fuck's sake.
Probably. You just said the F word.
So unless she was trying to be a bitch, or was a bitch.
Yeah, she was.
Like, yeah, I don't know if we can trust your judgment on this.
Yeah.
Because the only logic I could see would be, because if you play it before they declare their blockers, right?
Yeah.
Then they're just not going to block with their stuff, or they'll, like, it would change the way they would block, right?
Exactly.
So I can only assume she was legitimately trying to be helpful.
Honestly, I think the reason why she wanted a rules check is because the first time I played it, it made sense to me, like, why I'd done that wrong, because it did give her an unfair advantage. Yeah. Equally, the first time I played it, I was only, like, attacking with, like, 2 or 3 creatures at the time, so I was getting, like, +6, which isn't a big deal. The second time I played it, I was attacking with, I think, 7 creatures. Or maybe 6. Let's say 6. And I think she was like, oh, wait a second, I need to rules check this because I'm fucked. Basically.
Yeah, but that's not a dick move.
It was just the tone.
No, but I know. I agree with you. It sounds like the lady was a bitch.
Yeah.
But like, that isn't a dick move. This is for anyone that it goes out after listening to this and is like, oh, I'm going to try a Magic tournament. Like,
oh, they should. I would highly recommend it.
Having a rules check is fine.
No, it is.
There's nothing wrong, especially if something crazy happens where you're like, holy shit, this game just literally flips from this man about to lose to now we're drawing. Like, it's totally fine to be like, is this okay?
Here's what I'd say. If you're in that situation, get the rules check done at the first game if you're not sure. Because if you've said, oh, I think this is how you should play it, I just think if that's what you've said, you should then sort of be like, right, well, we've agreed that's how it's going to play, so that's how we will play it.
That's not how it works in tournaments, though.
I mean, it wasn't an official tournament.
That's how it works with me and you.
Yeah. And this is why...
when we're doing it, we're like, we don't really understand what's happening for most of it.
This is why I enjoy playing the Southampton girl so much, because she was exactly that same mindset. She was like, well, if we both agree this is what we think it means, let's play it like that. Which, obviously, we do that not trying to be a dick and one-up the other person, but just being like, the person that knows the rules is busy right now, and we just want to carry on playing, so this is a good compromise.
Yeah.
But yeah, so honestly, that victory was just so sweet. Like, I was so happy with myself. And it was, because I guess I had a green-white deck. It definitely was a sort of deck that the longer the game goes on, the more powerful you get.
Yeah.
And we were probably at like round 20 to 25 by the point that I actually won. But to go from like 2 versus 37 to winning...
that is hugely impressive.
I was so pleased with myself. So I came 7th overall, which I think is pretty admirable.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Speaking of card games...
Yep.
Wait for this segment. Oh, well, no, what's it called? Not a segment, it's a link.
Segue?
That's the word, segue. Get ready for this.
Jesus Christ.
I've been playing The Witcher 3.
Oh, God, this is a terrible segue. Go on.
And it has a card game in it called Gwent, which is fantastic.
It's getting turned into a thing.
I know, it's only into a game. So my question to you is, have you played Gwent?
Yeah, it's not as good as Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering.
No, it's not. It's real, like, rudimentary.
I know people that got really into Gwent, and I never did, particularly.
I like it. I'm not... It's the last match I had was really frustrating because I kept losing. I've just got a load of new cards now, and I'm just about to find someone to play. I'm looking forward to the standalone game that's coming out, but I am curious how they're going to make that into a whole game.
Yeah, see, this is the thing, right? The reason things like Magic the Gathering and like proper collectible card games and things like Hearthstone, the reason they work is it's still got the issue of when, if you first get Hearthstone and you haven't got anything, you have the standard cards, like the defaults. It's not even... I mean, it's more difficult with those standard cards, but it's not important. You can't, like... It's not like you couldn't make an alright deck with those cards. You could.
Yeah.
And you could win with a standard deck. People do it. Like, that's a thing you can do. But having the extra cards is better. Whatever. Things like Gwent, and the other one that I know is... did you ever play Knights of the Old Republic?
No.
Not the MMO one, the, like, old one?
No, I didn't.
Because that had a card game in it, which was just a numbers-based thing. And those games, because you can collect cards and it's part of a video game, it's not like you collect cards that give you a different effect. Like, it's not necessarily better, it just does this weirder thing. It's literally like, you collect this card, it's just better than your other cards.
Yeah.
Any game like that, it's just not going to work, because what will happen is the people that get it when it comes out will have incredible decks that you can't beat.
Yep.
And you'll be like, I'm playing my 1/1 footman, and they'll be like, I'm playing my 5/5 for the same price.
It's ridiculous.
Also, it kills all your 1/1s.
Yeah. That's a balancing issue more than anything, though, isn't it?
But that's what I mean. I think that's the big thing they're going to struggle with on it, is balancing. So Gwent and Witcher 3, you're quite late to it, Witcher 3.
I played it for probably like a good 10 hours or so a year ago.
Right, yep.
The thing with like The Witcher 3 is it's a very dense game, and I had completely forgotten where I was in the story, so I kind of just wanted to start over.
I'm going to have to do the same, because I've done the same thing, like played a chunk and then not played since then.
Yeah, I got up to... I think I completed the stuff with the Bloody Baron.
That rings a bell. I feel like I've met him, maybe.
Yeah, so, I've gone back. I have to admit, like... I also just tend to do this with long, like, RPG games, is I like to play them for a couple of hours, figure out kind of the ropes, if you will, and then start again and kind of do it more right, like the beginning bit.
Really?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
I know, it's weird, isn't it?
That is fucking weird.
So I really enjoyed going around the little tutorial area. I think it's called like White Orchid or something. Orchard? Yeah, White Orchard. The little like beginning area.
Yeah.
I super liked going around and doing all my little quests and finding all my places of interest and whatnot. And then I find with The Witcher 3, you complete that and it chucks you into the first like big map called Velen. It's just overwhelming, Jack. I don't know where to go next. There's just so much going on.
I worry about you, Liam.
I went to the cinema.
Can I have one? Because you've just done 3 things in a row that you've done.
Go on in, I'll let you have one.
I want to talk about something.
Go on in.
Have you seen the greatest TV show ever is back on the British airwaves?
What TV show is that?
Robot fucking Wars.
I had seen this. I can't agree it's the greatest TV show ever.
I loved Robot Wars as a kid.
I enjoyed it. I liked Sir Killalot. I loved
it.
He was my favourite.
Yeah, well, Sir Killalot's good, but Shunt was always pretty cool, and Dead Metal even cooler.
Shunt, wasn't he like a later edition? I swear he wasn't in some of the earlier seasons.
No, I don't think Shunt was. I think they definitely added other ones. Like, there was, by the end of it, they had Sir Killalot's dog and some other... Like,
there was like a Triceratops motherfucker.
She wasn't a later edition, that's Matilda.
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, you're terrible. But I had forgotten it had come back out.
Yeah.
And watched it yesterday.
Who's hosting it this now?
Dara O'Brien.
Oh, okay.
Brian.
I like him.
He's good. Apparently he was a fan of it when it was on.
Yeah, because I remember, was it Craig Charles who used to do it? I remember that. I can't see like them having the same sort of energy and approach to it.
It's very different.
Yeah.
But it's good. I like Dara O'Brien's really good on it.
He's very into his like math and science, so I can see him coming to it from that angle.
Yep. But honestly, mate, they've got some of the robots this series. Like they had, I don't know if you remember any of the old like actual contestants.
No, I
but
don't.
One of my favourite robots of all time was a robot called Razor.
Okay.
Which was literally, whereas most things have like something that swings very quickly, like an axe or a pick or something.
Yeah.
Razor had a pneumatic claw, which it was like a wedge shape, would drive onto your bot so that your bot sort of lifted up a little bit.
I remember
and it had
this.
a very slowly squeezing hook that just tore through everything.
Yeah, I remember that.
Went out in the first round, Liam, of this series.
Oh.
Like they were doing really well, and then another robot like sacrificed itself to take out Razor.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really wanted to watch Razor get to the finals.
So,
But it was good.
I actually feel like this is the sort of show that you would go on.
I wish I could. I wish I had the knowledge to build a robot.
I feel like it's the sort of thing you could probably learn.
Yeah, but I think it's a fair amount of money.
I'm sure you can do it sort of on the cheap.
To build something that built... right, one of the robots, Liam, in this show, Dara was like, so what protection have you got on your bot? And the guy was like, it's a plate steel. And Dara was like, is that the sort of stuff they'd have on tanks? And the guy was like, yeah, they use it on tanks sometimes. So when you say I could build one cheaply, I think you're right, but it would just die.
That's true.
But there you go. I'm excited. Robot Wars is back. I'm watching the second episode tonight.
Here's a fun fact for you.
Go on.
Get ready. Do you remember when Robot Wars was kind of winding down, they had like almost like a spin-off show, and it was like a Robot Olympics type thing?
Was that by the same people? I remember that show, but I don't know if it was by the same people.
I thought it was. I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah,
but
I know what one you mean.
I went to a taping of it with some friends when I was at school.
Oh, yeah?
Boring. Super fucking boring. You had to just stand in this real fucking cold warehouse for ages while they set everything up, and then just clap every now and again. It was I was bored out of my brains. It was awful.
See, I went to something better than that.
Go on.
For one of my birthdays as a kid, I went to one of the live touring shows of Robot Wars.
Okay.
Which I remember absolutely nothing of. Have spoken to friends who came with me on that birthday trip.
Yeah.
All of us were like, we remember travelling there, we remember loving it,
Yeah.
but none of us can remember what the fuck we saw.
Fair enough.
Which is a shame, because it sounds like it was badass.
Yeah.
Like, because I think it wasn't a taping, it was like an actual,
like a live show.
Yeah, so they actually build it for the people there as opposed to having to stand around and clap.
Yeah, exactly.